What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is realistic, and today we're going to talk about DEADSIDE and a few tips that I have for you guys that are just getting into the game, as well as those guys that have been around for some time. If you guys find this video useful in any kind of way, please make sure to smack the thumbs up button and also subscribe if you want more content like this. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so first things first, let's talk about the helicopter crash sites. Now, for those of you guys that don't know and are new to the game, helicopter crash sites are one of those places where you're probably gonna die very quickly if you don't approach it the correct way or if you don't have the correct gear to take it on. So, with that being said guys, there are different ways to approach this mission or this event so that you can successfully pass it, and sometimes you don't even need the best gear to do so. So, once you guys have decided to engage in these events, make sure you're approaching in the best possible way, that way you don't get wiped out right away. So, what do I mean by that? Pretty much, if you guys are approaching a helicopter crash site and it's in an open field and you happen to see a rock or a tree nearby, make sure you use that as cover and not just run straight into the crash site. You guys will get annihilated right away by the AIs as soon as they spot you. So make sure you guys are using rocks, make sure you're using trees, any kind of cover that you can get. Now, sometimes you might have to get creative if you really want to pass that mission. So if you're in an open field and you happen to not have any rocks or any kind of trees, you can easily look around the terrain and see if you have a hill crest or some kind of dip that you can use as cover. Now, make sure that you are hitting your shots, because if you don't take these AIs in time and they decide to all rush you at once, you're pretty much dead meat. So make sure you guys are taking accurate shots when you decide to push these missions. Now, obviously, I'm talking to you guys that don't have the best gear at this moment. So let's actually switch it up and say that you do have some good gear. You end up having a Milsim with a scope on it and you want to take this mission on. Obviously, it is going to be a lot easier for you to do so if you have that scoped weapon. So from a distance, you still might want to take cover behind a tree, behind a rock. That way you don't get taken out right away, because like I said, these AIs are extremely accurate, and if you've played this game anytime, you know that I'm not lying. So make sure you guys are staying behind cover at all times. So from a distance, take your shots, make sure they're accurate, and get out of there as quick as possible. That way you don't get wiped out by someone that's just pushing the mission as well, and you get out of there with all the loot. So from a distance, use your cover, use your scoped weapon, and take this mission on very quickly. Now, one thing I did forget to mention is for you guys to carry a backpack at all times. Now, there's no use in you guys passing these missions or events and not being able to carry the gear that you guys fought so hard for. So make sure, if you can't find a backpack, that you craft one yourself by finding the simple items that you need. Alright, so now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about airdrops and how you guys should approach. Now, obviously, if you guys play the game, you know that airdrops are probably the easiest way to get the best gear in the game. Now, when these airdrops appear, if you happen to be close to them, it is very easy for you to go to them, grab everything that's inside, and disappear. But on the other hand, if you decide to show up to these airdrops at the wrong time because you waited too long or you were too far away and you decided to run to it anyways, there is a high chance that you're probably going to die, especially if there's a squad just camping it waiting for someone to get there. So with all of that in mind, the tip that I have for you when it comes to airdrops is to make sure that you're not pushing airdrops that have been on the map for too long. Now, if you guys happen to just spawn next to one and it's been there for a while and you don't have absolutely anything, then it doesn't hurt to just swing by and see if anyone left any scraps. Those scraps might be gold at that point for you. But if you do have some decent gear and you see this on the map for some time, there is really no need to push it at that moment. Now, if you just want some PvP action, then go ahead, but if you're trying to play it safe, then I will definitely not show up to these airdrops at the last minute so that you don't end up getting frustrated when someone wipes you out. Now, obviously, this tip is only going to those people playing on PvP servers, as in a PvE server, you're not gonna have to fight each other. On the other hand, if you guys show up to these airdrops before anyone else, there is nothing wrong with you camping it and waiting for someone else to come along and taking them out. Sometimes you might get lucky and kill a player that has an amazing loadout that you can take back to the safe zone or back to your base. For those of you guys that have watched this video this far and still don't have a copy of DEADSIDE, then congratulations, here is a free key for you to enjoy. Obviously, it's only one key, so if you guys do end up winning, make sure to comment down below, that way I know who got it and I can congratulate you. Without further ado, let's continue. Alright, so we talked about the airdrops and we talked about the crash sites. Now let's talk about convoys. Now, convoys are a tricky mission to complete, and that's because they also include a boss, sort of like the one you see in Tarkov, that is very powerful and very deadly. So when you're pushing these convoys or you're setting up to take one out, make sure you have some solid cover and make sure you have a decent weapon to attempt them with. Now, obviously, if you don't have the best gear, if you happen to just spawn, then a pistol is pretty much enough if you have a good enough aim. So if you're gonna use a pistol to take these AIs out, make sure you have a good distance between you and also go for headshots. If you guys go for the headshots, it's more than likely going to drop them before they all push you at once and you just die. So make sure you guys are doing these missions with decent gear, but if you don't have the time to get decent gear, then go ahead and just grab yourself a pistol and give it a shot. Another way to try and take out these convoys without the best gear is to set up a few tripwires along the pathway, and hopefully you're able to take out a few of them before they see you. Now, obviously, you guys are not just going to have to worry about the AIs, you're also going to have other players trying to complete the event, so be prepared to fight. Once you guys have successfully retrieved the container and you're trying to get back to the safe zone, try not to run in a predictable way so that way you don't get cut off by other players. Try and make other players guess as to where you're going, and make sure you're using the terrain to your advantage, making it harder for people to take you out from a distance. Alright, so I don't want this video to be extremely long, so now I'm going to throw a few tips at you that are going to be direct and to the point. So, double barrel shotguns can pretty much take out any player depending on how you're positioned on the map and how accurate you are with the shots. So, a double barrel shotgun is all you're going to need to face up against anyone in the game, as long as you have the range and you have the accuracy that you're going to need. For those of you guys that want to maximize on your runs and make money very quickly, I do suggest that you stay in the south safe zone because you will be closer to a lot of new missions, and the run from those missions to the safe zone are very short. If you happen to have enough room in your inventory, make sure you carry around some painkillers at all times. Now, if you guys run into a situation where you're injured and you need to heal up very quickly, then painkillers are going to be your solution. Now, obviously, if you're going to take these painkillers, make sure you have some kind of liquid with you because you're going to have to drink it right away. Painkillers do take your hydration pretty much all the way down if you are not careful. Something else to keep in mind is to never let your hydration or your food intake hit 0. If it hits 0 on either one of those, no matter how many times you try to bandage or heal or drink painkillers, they will not do anything to your health and you're gonna end up losing health over time. So make sure you keep these in check, that way you guys don't die over time. Continuing on, even if you end up having the worst weapon in the game, you can still go through and complete easy and medium missions with little to no effort at all. If you guys happen to have a few bucks laying around and you don't know what to buy, then I definitely recommend that you get the supporter pack from the Steam store. Now, with this supporter pack, you will get an additional 18 slots in your safe zone, giving you enough space to store most of your items, and for some people it's enough to not even have to build a base in the future. Continuing on, it's a good habit to keep loot both at the north safe zone and at the south safe zone at all times. This is definitely going to be useful if you end up dying and needing gear right away so that you can try and get your revenge. Adding on to that, I definitely recommend that you set up some containers outside of every major city, that way you have access to loot whenever you die. Now before I give you the last 2 tips, if you haven't liked this video already, please make sure to smack that thumbs up button and also subscribe if you enjoyed the content and want to see more like it. Alright, so the last 2 tips that I have for you is to make sure you gather all of the hunter scopes that you find on the scavs after you kill them. These scopes can be paired up with most weapons that are in the game at the moment and gives you the ability to engage in those long distance fights. And for the final tip is make sure you guys are using the take it all function inside of your inventory. So for example, if you die and you had a lot of gear on you, make sure that right before you get to your body, you drop everything that you have on you. That way when you get to it, you can simply go in your inventory and hit the take all function so that you can get right back into the fight or move to a safer location. Alright guys, so that's gonna be it for this video. I do appreciate every single one of you watching this far, and if you have, please make sure to smack that thumbs up button once again. That way we can continue to grow this channel. Without further ado, I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you on the next video.